Hi guys, I understand many people you are so uncomfortable having the uncomfortable discussions. I understand many people you don't want to confront the realities of the world we live in, our country, South Africa, all the problems. I understand you are comfortable in that bubble of living in a delusion, living in a lie. But when will we be comfortable talking about the fact that having a South African ID doesn't mean anything? When are we gonna finally talk about that? When you go to a hospital, it doesn't mean anything. You have a South African ID, you don't have an ID. They will help you. It's medical there. It's everything about nursing people, helping people. Those people don't care about your ID. When are we gonna talk about that? When are we gonna talk about when you wanna go to a tavern, you wanna go to a club in Maboneng, Josie Santi? Nobody cares about your ID. When are we gonna talk about the fact that hey, some of these, not even government, because the conversation about immigration, the government hiring foreigners or South African hiring foreigners, illegal foreigners are working in South Africa, that shouldn't be a complaint against the private sector. That should be a complaint against the government, and the government is not doing that. The government is hiring only South Africans. So you guys, your problem is with the private sector, these companies that are not owned by no one in your family. You don't have a company Guinea, but you want to tell people who should hire. When it comes to hiring, nobody cares if you have a South African ID or you don't have. In most cases in this private sector, where it's a quick hush jobs, when you have a South African ID, you are at a disadvantage because they want to hire illegal foreigners. When are we going to talk about that? That having a South African ID doesn't change anything. You are poor sitting there. You don't have money to celebrate the New Year's Eve. You can't buy cricket. You can't buy black spider cricket, cricket with 5 rand. You can't buy cigarette. When are we going to talk about that? You have a South African ID in your pocket, in your purse, but you don't have money, most. You are broke, you don't have a job, you are sitting down there complaining about the same things you're complaining 5 years ago. You are where you were 5 years ago. When are we going to talk about that? That with your South African ID, you are still a nobody, you are still incompetent, you're not competing, you're not outshining people, you're not willing to go and help anyone, volunteer, change the world with your South African ID. So what does a South African ID do for you? I have a South African ID, someone else has a South African ID, and I look at them and be like, oh, this one will never outcompete me. This one will never do things like I do them. With this South African ID, I also have it. This one also has it. This one also has it. What's special about something that everybody has? Everyone has a South African ID, man. There's nothing special about it. Go and do something out of the ordinary. Tell us about something else. Hey, South African ID. Every day. Hey, you don't have an ID. Hey, man, shut up. Shut up. You have a South African ID. Where are you in your life? Yeah, nobody cares about you. How? Hey, South African ID. Every day we have to hear about South African ID. Hey, you don't have a South African ID. Hey, Home Affairs, this one doesn't have a passport. Yo, every day you're gonna tell us, hey, South African ID. Ah, man, having a South African ID doesn't mean anything. Aye. And I'm not saying people shouldn't have. And I'm not saying people should do things illegally. I'm just saying there's nothing special about having a South African ID. Many people who come to our country with their own IDs from their own countries, they just happen to have a permit or a passport. They come here, they open businesses. They don't have a South African ID. They come here, they open businesses, they sell to your women, sell weaves there in the street, small street. Your girls go and do nails in their shops, in their salons. Your girlfriends do nails in Nigerian shops. Your girlfriends are getting money from Nigerians in the clubs. Your girlfriends are slave queens, the ballers, are Ghana guys, people who don't have South African IDs, making a wonderful life for your girlfriends. They don't even want to go back home in Makaya because they chose Gumnandi. Gunabo G. Hey, South African ID. You are going to party in clubs all over the places. These clubs are owned by foreigners. Hey, South African ID. Those people who are creating a nice time for you don't have a South African ID. They have a passport. So you have a South African ID. What's special about you? There's nothing special about you having a South African ID. Like there's nothing special about me. I also have a South African ID. It's like it's not unique having a South African ID. It's like, okay, you have a South African ID. So what? What must we do? What must we do? We must cry and say, oh, this one has a South African ID. How? You are cry babies, you are lazy, you don't want to work hard. You want to victimize yourself by saying, I have a South African ID, but I'm not working in my own country. In your own country, you're poor in your own country. In your own country, you are poor. Does that say much about you or about the country? In your own country, you are poor. What does that say about you in your own country? You are still complaining, hey, there's no there's no jobs. Hey, I'm broke. Hey, some BS cry baby shit. Hi man, we must call it out because it's not nice looking at people act aloof, act a clown because they think they're special. Somehow you have a South African ID. And when I say this, hey, you're a propagandist, I don't care, call me whatever. There's nothing special about you having a South African ID. Anyone can have a South African ID. Go to Home Affairs, you register your things, you show them your birth certificate, or you were born in Elim Hospital, you're from Kabungeni, your mother is this Hlongwane, your father is this Matebula. Okay, they put those things there, they give you an ID. There's nothing special. There's nothing. How? Hey, me, I have a South African ID, I'm a South African. Mawushela uchere ugela kanandaba nokuthi you have a South African ID or not. Do you have what it takes to attract her? Do you have the mullah? Do you have the resources to protect her if she happens to be pregnant with your child? Are you attractive? Are you sexually appealing? Are you what you want? Don't look at you, can you show me your South African ID so I can maybe like you? Nobody gives a F about a South African ID. So stop bragging about that as if you're gonna come across as something. Hey, if you get me, John. Hey, we have watched Belan. I smoke go busy over. I saw it. Go busy over. One of my brothers is getting married, but I'm not going to the wedding ceremony because I might go somewhere else. So I told them I can't come, and I can only be there when they bring back the Makoti here Kabungeni, because they're going far, these people. But a South African ID. My aunt who just greeted me now. She has a South African ID. She has it. My two nieces, they are working together there. They have South African IDs. I have a South African ID. My daughter is still young, doesn't have an ID. She only has a South African birth certificate. My girlfriend has a South African ID. My grandfather preparing to go to the wedding has a South African ID. That guy passing there has a South African ID. There's nothing special having a South African ID. Hey, South African, this and that. Being delusional, you're deluding yourself. Hey, me special because I'm a South African. What's special? You're poor, mus. You don't have money, you don't have job. You're complaining there's no jobs. What's special about a country that people don't have jobs? Just because, hey, I'm also a South African, I can't say this. I will say it, I'm a spy. I will say it because it's boring, this thing you're doing. But it is what it is. Thank you very much.